most of you are asleep right now. Just an update. I'm poaching out in Desert Goats territory, the wonderful city of Converse, Texas. Looks like I'll have to go to a couple of city hall meetings out here too. Their police department was out there doing a quick video. They had a prayer. Uh, Made a good comment. They had a nice thing about their prayer out there, and walked around the sidewalk. Um, no visible signs from the sidewalk saying there was a restricted area. I looked for them. There were none visible. I'm not from the area, so this is a new area for me. Like I said, I'm poaching in Desert Goats territory. Uh, I come out here, and I know the Fusion Center still departments. I'm all over the place, so I'm like, okay, that's fine, guys. This is what I do. So again, I'm out in Converse, and I go by the police station, and I'm not there for more than 4 minutes. Less than 4 minutes. Oh yeah, it's also AJOT's territory, um, as well as it used to be Truth Be Told's territory out here. But again, I'm out on this side of town for a reason, and I decided to come out and visit Converse and poach some of their wonderful police officers. And I got some doozies for you. Um, my video will be out. It was only a 4 minute video because my memory ran out. Wasn't expecting anything out here actually. And if I'd expected it, I'd have gone live, but I wasn't. I'm like, okay, it's dead of night. No issues here. When I see an officer, I'll go live out on the street. So I walk around the side of the police building, and an officer's walking out. And I say, hey, how you doing, officer? And it freaks him out. And he's like, hey, what are you doing back here? And he's all, and I'm like, uh, I'm filming, walking. You can't be back here. You're trespassing. You need to give me your ID. I'm like, I don't need to give you my ID. What do you mean I'm trespassing? There's no sign. And he's like, yeah. And I'm okay. If you're saying I'm trespassing, I'm leaving. Please show me the sign. He goes out. He shows me an authorized personnel sign only and the drive to go back there. I didn't go. I didn't drive back there. I walked along the sidewalk or on the side of the building. Their video cameras clearly show that. And I'm like, okay, well, I understand you're seeing, there's a sign here, but you can't trespass someone or arrest someone for trespassing unless they've been notified. And if they can't see a sign, they're not notified. And so, of course, police always escalate these things. And this young officer, he tried to escalate it. He was professional, but he's like, you're going to give me your ID? I'm like, no, I'm not. You're going to need to get a supervisor out here. So the lieutenant came out, and he's like, put him in cuffs now. And I'm like, okay, whatever. It's not the first time I've been in cuffs, guys. You guys know me. I'm a dick. So thank you, Mike, for stopping in. Thank you, Kay Stevenson, for stopping in. So anyway, I'm like, okay, well, Lieutenant, number one, I wasn't trespassing. As soon as he told me I wasn't supposed to be here, I walked off. No laws were broken. He's like, we don't care. We're going to arrest you for it anyway. I'm like, guys, when you do what I do, a lot of people, they go, oh, you caved, you did whatever. Look, I've been arrested close to 9 times. I beat my cases in court, but I cannot be arrested every time and make a point. That does not work. It doesn't teach the police anything. What I did get to do today, after somewhat of a cooperation with these guys, after I'm in cuffs, and I'm like, okay, you're going to do what you're going to do. I'm not going to argue with you. You've already basically placed me under arrest. I'll give you my ID, and then we'll discuss this. And we had a nice long discussion. And the officer did not understand 3802. He didn't understand loitering. He didn't understand trespassing. So I was able to educate him and the other officer, which is a good thing for me. This is why I come out to do what I do. I'm not out here to bash cops. I'm not out here to make cops look stupid, because honestly, they do that on their own. It's just one of those things. So, I told him, I said, well, look, you clearly see there's no way I could have seen this sign from where I'm at. You need to post another sign. They're both like, yeah, we know. We've told them that. I'm like, I'll be going to their city hall. I will be bringing that up. They need to do that. And again, it's not about bashing cops, because, guys, some cops need to be bashed. This was a young officer. He's relatively professional, but I know I startled him. That's why I introduced myself to him out there. I'm like, I'm not trying to be a jerk to the guy, but I don't want him being, and he kind of freaked out. And the other officer said the same thing. And I'm like, look, that wasn't my objective. I understand you're like, you don't know who I am. I mean, you guys should know who I am. The fusion reports are out there. The homeless hippie is all over the place. AJOT, will put out that video very shortly. It was a young officer. I've got his badge and name, but the backup officer was polite to, of course, when the lieutenant said, put him in cuffs right now and ID him, give him a criminal trespass. And I'm like, okay, even their criminal trespass warning, I had to coach them on the wording and the legalities of that, which isn't a big deal, but I've been through this again via um, you know administration telling me, oh, come inside the building and pick up your things that you requested. You're legally allowed to be here. Oh, fuck you guys. Your cops arrest me for walking on the street. I'm not walking into your building. You son of a bitches are going to walk out my information to the sidewalk because that's what's required by law. And that's what they have to do now. They have to take their information, get up off their ass, walk it out to the sidewalk for me. I'm not going to play that game. And they're like, oh, you could have come in. I'm like, no, I know I could have. I'm legally allowed to. But one of your dumbass officers will still make the arrest. It'll get dismissed in court. But, again, you cannot do what we do and sit in jail for months and months on time and still be productive. So tonight, I'm like, okay, that's fine. Whatever. You'll get my ID, whatever. I'm leaving. And, he's like, well, what's your address? We have it listed as this. And I laughed because my driver's license has my legal address on it. And an officer at one point made the somewhat correct statement of saying, well, you're the homeless hippie, so you're homeless. Because I said, I'm not giving you any information. This isn't a legal arrest. I'm not required to give you my address. And so they listed it as homeless, and every cop since then says, well, you're the homeless hippie, so, we just say you're homeless. And I'm like, that's fine with me. Whatever information you got, I don't need to cooperate with that shit. So anyway, going back to the reason I'm live broadcasting now, I told the officers, I drove out here, by the way, guys, and, when you piss off a cop and you don't give them the information you need when you drive off, they'll find anything to pull you over. Play that game at your own risk. That's why you should never park nearby what you're doing. I'm like, I don't care. I'm not worried about it. If they pull me over, the cop goes, now I got to see your address. I'm like, here you go. And he'll be like, well, why the hell do they have it listed as homeless? I'm like, that's on you guys. I can't control what you guys do. I don't intend to. Your Fusion Center reports have a bunch of shit that's inaccurate about it. They said I was up in Austin back in Austin because I sold my car and the towing company came down and picked it up and towed it up to Austin. They tracked my car. They said, oh, you were up in Austin. I'm like, I was never in Austin. I didn't need to tell the cops that. Where I'm getting at, guys, I'm sorry, I'm just ranting, is I came out here, I was poaching on these guys' turf. I'm not normally out here. And because I poached, I wasn't out here for 5 minutes and I found some issues that need to be corrected. And that's what I do. Right now, truth be told, I'm at the Walmart. I just left the police station. I told him, I said, I'm going to go down to the Walmart. The reason I decided to come down to the Walmart is because I know some of my fellow wonderful auditors who are out here are very local, and I'm not going to name their names. They know who they are. They're here. And if they see this and they, want to say, hey, wait there, then I'll wait here. If they're not in the area, no big deal. But again, I mean, the issue goes back to, I spent 35 minutes speaking with the officers off camera, and it was a good interaction, and I was able to teach both of the officers better ways to handle people when they talk to them. And yeah, you can say I'm a bootlicker, but I told them how to trip people up when they're being dicks with cops. But they do it without violating their rights, by using the right phrases, and by doing things. Because we all know they're going to violate your rights. The lieutenant's sitting there going, well, we'll arrest you for it. Yeah, they could have arrested me for it because they have a sign posted, but it would not have stood up in court because I didn't see the sign and it wasn't visible, and I would have beat the charge. But I would have had to pay to have my car towed, pay bail, all that other BS that goes with that. Instead, I'll go down to the city hall and I'll make that point. And instead tonight, what I have are two officers who understand that we're not out here to make them look bad. We're not out here trying to cause them grief. We just want fair treatment, and we want them to understand that when we do what we do, it's about making positive change for the community and for the police as well. I brought up, I'm like, you guys knew who I am. I assume they did because the fusion centers do that all the time. HAOT is over by City Hall. I just left there. By the way, I'm allowed to go back to City Hall, but I cannot go to the police station. So I'd go over there, but there's no parking that I want to go to. And quite frankly, I'll stay over here for a little while. HAOT, you have my phone. If not, I'll text you when I get off my live stream. Anyway, guys, my rant here tonight, my other video will be out. I ran out of memory on this phone. I've been doing a lot of different things. I know a lot of you guys are like, wow, he's not hitting Via as hard or whatever. This morning I spent a lot of time arguing with Via. I'm working with Jack Miller about some of the other issues there. I've got stuff up to the Attorney General's with Via for information requests. What I do 90% of the time, people do not see what I'm actually out here doing. And there's a reason for that, because it's boring. Most of my videos are long, boring, kind of like this. It's a rant telling people, hey, I'm out here doing this for you guys. The lieutenant, and I'm going to tell you right now, that lieutenant's a cocksucker. If I saw him on the street and he was on fire, I'd probably look over and go, I'd urinate on you, but you'd, to put out that fire, but you'd arrest me for fucking urinating in public, probably arrest me for assaulting you, because that's the type of fucking dirty pig you are. Sit there and go, well, I can't arrest you. I know it won't hold up, but we're going to do it if you don't fucking ID. I'm like, whatever, I'm already in cuffs. You do what you got to do. But again, these are the types of things. So again, I'll address the signage issue with City Hall. As far as cops do what cops do, guys. If you do this long enough, no matter what, they'll find something. It's like I told the officer, I said, he's like, well, I could have got you for loitering because you were walking back there. And I had to explain to him what the loitering ordinances are and the legalities of it. And I'm like, you couldn't get me for loitering even if I wasn't filming. What was I doing when you saw me walking? Walking has purpose, doesn't it? There's the key word in every loitering ordinance. Someone without purpose gets dismissed in court. And he's like, wow. And I'm like, that's right. If they fight it, it gets dismissed. So if you really want to get somebody, hope that they light a cigarette, because guess what, guys? Even if you just ash, that is littering in every state. Yeah. I mean, again, when I tell them, I said, if you're being a dick to the cop, they can get you on it. They can arrest you on it. You take it before the judge sees it for petty, but they've got you. But on this other stuff, loitering, this other, crap, that cops always throw this stuff out, and they do not understand the laws. I actually had to have this officer, go over 3802, because he's like, well, I could have got you because I suspected you of a crime. And I'm like, see, that's the problem. That's why I do what I do. That's why I told you I was not going to ID. It forces this conversation. And just like with Officer Rudiman, San Antonio Police Department, who unlawfully arrested me for it. And I said, once you have me in cuffs and you tell me I'm arrested, I'll give you my ID. I don't have a problem with that. It's not even a lawful arrest, so I don't have to. And I'll tell officers if it's not a lawful arrest and they're being dicks. I'm like, okay, well, you say whatever. You can throw that charge on too, but it's not going to fly, because if they are lawfully arrested, they have to provide their name, their address, and their date of birth. Again, pick and choose your battles, guys, because court is a pain in the ass. It's expensive, and the risks are very high if you don't know how the courts work. You can be right on all the legal parts. If you don't know how to submit your evidence, if you don't know how to object to state's evidence, you're fucked. I'm just telling you that's the way things work. I'm going to get off my live stream because I basically ranted and let you guys know how I feel about this wonderful little town of Converse. Wasn't here for 4 minutes. That's what happened. That video will be up. And again, it's not about necessarily bad officers. It's officers who need training, officers who need education. And the way that we do that is being respectful, even when they're fucking us. And I accomplished that tonight. I really believe that. Both of those officers, they gave me fist bumps. People go, why would you fist bump any cop? I'm like, because they were respectful and they admitted that they learned something. And to me, that is what I want to see. So, you guys, I get this all the time from other auditors, and I get it from other from the both sides. I'm like, they're like, oh, you're a frauditor, oh, you're a bootlicker. Say whatever you want. I do things my way because I look for results. This is how I think we get results. I think we get results by being polite, um, professional. And you guys have seen some of my videos. I'm not always polite and professional. There are some dirty cops who being polite with will never work. There's quite a few of them. The other day, I left via on the northwest side of town, and they have word out to all their guards wherever I'm at. They're supposed to track me and tell them. And I told the guard, I said, hey, you know your orders. Tell the guy I'm going downtown. That's where I'll be in 20 minutes. And they had a car actually waiting for me down at Via Central when I got off the bus. But it was a good officer, and I was surprised. I was like, sons of bitches. But I'm like, hey, if you guys want to waste your resources following me around while I'm doing what I do, you know why I'm doing what I do, because you guys are fucking up. And the officer who was waiting there, I walk by and he pulls up and he starts to roll down his window. I'm like, ready to give him the bird. And he's a good officer that I've dealt with on a lot of times. I filmed him tasing a guy. And trust me, guys, if I'm filming you as a police officer and you're using any type of force, I am more critical of that than most people, but I also understand what's going on more than a lot of people understand. So his use of force was justified. The armed guard who was with him used a little bit of excessive force, but I mean, it was a level 2 untrained guard, and the guy did bite him. So I'm like, I'm going to cut that guard some slack. But either way, this officer, he rolls down his window, and I'm like, great, they're going to talk some shit. But he didn't. He waved and he said, hey, what's up? He was friendly. And I needed that day because I've been staying the fuck away from Via since this last bullshit arrest for fucking being on a sidewalk. I'll beat that in court, but it doesn't matter. It's the principle of it. And the day after, when I went to pick up my property, they fucking lied. Their guards lied and said I was intentionally blocking fucking buses. I was irate about that, guys. I mean, I don't know how to say how irate I was about it. And the cops go, oh, well, are you going to continue blocking this? And I'm like, I never was. I don't like you using the word continue. That's on the live stream. But what I was more pissed off about is they sat there. They knew their guard lied. He made a false report, which is 3708, I believe, is I think it's 3708 is lying on a police investigation, which is a crime. And they don't do shit to anyone. Police never file this charge. But I've been dropping this charge on a bunch of city employees lately, filing official complaints. I did it to San Antonio Independent School District administrator. She lied to the police and said she told me to leave and I didn't leave. And I'm like, got everything on tape. Here you go. Why the hell are you guys being this way to me? She didn't do it and she lied to you. You should be prosecuting her. Will they do it? No. The point is, when you make that complaint, they have to take the report, and there's a paper trail. So, I mean, like I said, with Via, I'm so done with Via. They're not going to change their ways. I'm out at Via, and the guard's telling me, I walk up to the guard at Via like 3 or 4 days ago, and the guard's talking to another guy saying, yeah, they say that auditor's going to be out here, they carry guns and they're so scary and all. And I'm like standing 5 feet from him filming. I'm like, hey, I'm the guy you're talking about. Yeah, I'm the guy they warned you about. And he reaches down with his hand. This is a retention holster here. I'm going to show you where my hand is. Okay. Retention holsters, good retention holsters that most officers using now, level 3. They have a thumb release as well as a finger release. You're going to press down, but you also have to use your thumb. That's to keep people from taking that weapon. And I witnessed him put his thumb in there. He was ready to draw his weapon. I'm filming him, both hands obvious. I de-escalated it verbally. But most people wouldn't notice that. I happen to notice it. And I'm like, why the hell are you so afraid of a guy with a camera? Oh, they warned you. I get that. And he tells me on my video, they told us to tell you guys if you're out here, you need permission. We need to do that. And I'm like, we've already gone over this. And I showed him the letter from Via administrator saying everyone has that permission. So, I'm sorry. I hear you're saying Desert Goat is right down the road from me. Is he out filming, or are you just saying that's where he lives? I know he lives right around here. I watch his videos all the time, and I know he's around here. I also know AJ's right around the corner. But where I was getting at, so this guard, he's so worried that these big bad auditors are going to come out here with cameras and guns. And I'm like talking to him friendly, and I'm like, okay, well, you're wrong. Here, I'm going to show you this off the paper. Immediately, I get off the phone with him, and I send a letter out to, hey, Steel Street, how you doing? Appreciate you asking that. I'm driving Steel Street. I'll go into that. I'll talk to you about that later. Steel Street's one of the guys who gives me information, guys. He's a great guy. He gives me information about other things going on all around San Antonio too. But so sorry, I lost my track of thought when I was reading that. It's easy to do when you're years old as I am. The uh, the issue with this guard out at Via is he's saying, well, my supervisors told me to ask for this, and I'm like, I've been through this. I went to the Via board and I told their board, why are your police saying it's policy and it's not policy? And your police need to stop telling people they need permission to film because that stops them from doing what they're allowed to do. And then all of a sudden, they have to go get permission that they already have. And, anytime someone tells me that, I pull out the letter. I brag about this all the time. I'm like, I'm the only auditor in San Antonio who carries this letter with me. It's on my phone, but I'm like, oh, no, you don't. You don't get away with that shit. Here, read this. This is my permission. Every citizen has the right to film on any Via property that's not restricted. Don't need that letter. Don't need anything, but the guards are told if you see an auditor, ask them if they got permission. Why? They're stifling your rights. And the supervisors continue to tell them that. So I got with Rachel Benavides. I apologize, with Via. I sent her the email, sent her the show of the clip of doing it. And I told the guard, I said, you tell the next guard who's coming on, I'm coming back when you get off duty. And you know what I did? I waited there at the mall, Crossroads Mall. It's a little, went and got something to eat, went and confronted the next guard. That one, unfortunately, I put on live stream, which was not smart of me because my connection wasn't good and it was all choppy. It was a fucked up video. But I'm like, okay. But again, the guards for Via are instructed to tell their supervisors to track us. And, we've known this has gone on forever, but I make a joke of it. Because now, I'll tell them, okay, I'm catching this bus. Let them know I'm going there. And then I'll get off that bus and go to a different location and show up somewhere else and tell another guard somewhere else, hey, I'm going over here. Why do I do it? Yeah, they have fusion centers that watch my live streams too. They'll be like, the dude's fucking with you guys. I'm like, why do I do it? Because they need to be fucked with. And you know what? If they warn every single guard, an auditor's going out here, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Guess what that guard does? He makes sure he's not violating any policies because he's afraid he's going to get filmed doing it. So I'm like, yeah, you're damn right. I'll tell him, I'm going here. I'm going here. I'll actually get on a bus and get off 2 blocks down and go the opposite way. I mean, it's fucked up. Yeah. It is what I do, though. I play games. I call them ghosting games sometimes. When police follow me, I'll duck down one-way streets when I'm walking just to screw with them. I do the same thing. I've done the same thing just because I'm a dick. Either way, guys, this live stream is going on 30 minutes, or I'm sorry, 23 minutes. I guess my vision's not as good as it should be. I'm going to clear out of the area. AJ, I'll text you if you're still in the area. Desert Goat, if you guys have a way of contacting him, if he's in the area, I'll be happy to talk with him tonight. I mean, again, this is what I do. I came out here to poach his territory and got a good story from it. So thank you all for coming in. Thank you for the thumbs up. Peace. Remember, for you other guys, you don't have to take an arrest to get our point across. Because honestly, unless you take the arrest and you take it to court and you sue and then you take it all the way up and make case law, it ain't going to matter. And we all know it doesn't even matter if you make case law because dirty cops are still going to be dirty cops. We can't change dirty cops. We can change good cops who are just unknowledgeable or have been trained wrong. Like I said, this officer tonight, he got an education. And I told him, I said, you can't trust me. But now you're going to go look up 3802 and you're going to know I was right. And it's going to change the way that, you do things in the future. If he's a good officer, or he may go, fuck it, I've been getting away with this shit and I'm going to continue getting away with it. We can't control that, guys. We really can't. What we can do is educate the good officers, educate the public on their rights. And again, I honestly feel the best way to do that is by being polite. But there are times where they need the bam, the right here. Fuck you, you're a piece of shit. They need to hear that from the citizen. They don't hear it enough, and they get upset when they hear it. But it's like, hey, you're just like everyone else. When you violate our rights, you're telling us that every day. Fuck you. They need to hear it sometimes. Again, evaluate what you're doing when you go out. What is the purpose of what you're doing? And again, I tell people my purpose is not blasting individual guards unless they're dicks, and some of them you'll know. Some of the officers you'll see. I'll mention them by name: Medell, Cruz, blasted Cruz. I'm sorry. Put up a spoof video of like where she's blowing me a kiss while she's fucking violating my rights. I'm sorry, but if you act that way, that's what you get. So, yeah, I'll keep rambling. You guys know how I am. So, thanks again, everyone. I see Mike Taylor stopped in. Thanks. You can always rewind and watch. This video will be public shortly. Whenever I post live, YouTube, they monitor everything, and they eventually let me post it to public again, but sometimes it takes 2 or 3 days. So thanks again for everyone who stopped in. I'm checking the chats again. Sorry. All live messages. Yeah, I hear you, AJ. I'll look at that video and I'll text you who it is, or you can just wait. That video should be up within a day or two. Um, so, it is what it is. I'll tell you right now, I do not like that lieutenant, though. Just the way that he acted. Arrest him and, whatever. I'm like, whatever, dude. You're a fucking douchebag. And, when I go talk to your city hall, we'll let them know, okay, you either put up the signs over here, or I'll come out and I'll take that arrest. And when I do, I will come out and sue this city. Because if they don't do it willingly, then that's the way you do it. You force them through a lawsuit. And I'm the type of guy who will tell you, I'll sit in jail for 24 days rather than pay fucking $10 in bail. And I'm a dick about that. I'm like, no, fuck you. I'm not going to pay you to fucking victimize me. You can feed me. I don't give a shit. The longer I sit in here, the more my bank account grows. Every day I'm in here, I'm fucking saving money. You guys have a great day. Peace out, guys. Still Street, I'll get with you. You're wondering how I'm going to get home, but again, I am driving. I know you're like, man, this motherfucker never leaves downtown. Things have changed with my situation in life, so good, bad, either way, things have changed, and I'm dealing with that. Thanks again, everyone. I got to turn this off, or I'll keep rambling. That's the way I am.